Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. Today I'm going to talk to you about another underrated show. And this show, it's an older show, and I actually discovered it a couple years ago. Actually, a little further than that, maybe like 7 years ago, I think, or six. I discovered it a while ago. It's a interesting show, kind of funny. Um, it's a comedy show which I heard about it when I did some research, but it was something I really wanted to check out, and lo and behold, it was made available at what channel was it? IFC. I think it came on the IFC channel, and it's currently available on Tubi. I think you can also watch some free episodes on YouTube. And the show I'm referring to is called The Critic. It's voiced by John, was it Lovitz? For those who don't know who that actor is, and I kind of knew that voice was familiar. I thought it was the guy from what's that show? It's Seinfeld, but no, I'm thinking of another show. This guy is actually from that. If anybody seen Rat Race? He's the one family guy in the van, and he's the one dude who was yelling to his wife saying no, and the wife steps on his foot and head butts him. And they pull over. I forgot whatever reason that was. I haven't seen the movie in a while. But this show currently available to watch for free. And the show basically chronicles the life of a film critic who hosts a critic show, a film review show similar to Roger Ebert and the other guy when they have like a show that would tune in. I think every Sunday or Sunday afternoon they would talk about recent films that came out on the weekend. Basically, he's a movie critic. He's a movie critic that reviews movies, and he's a single father, raising, I think the kid's like 8 or 9 years old, and trying to adjust and live his life while trying to review movies he just tastes and hates and just hates on them because in his personal opinion, they're pretty bad films. Yet his boss constantly tells him to try to give the movies a decent rating, but he hates it. He's just upfront with it. And he's having to deal with his stylist on opinions about it and her personal life, and basically everything becomes kind of chaotic with each episode having their new little series while Jay Sherman tries to find love. And it's pretty interesting, pretty hilarious. I actually love the especially if you grew up in the 90s, I love the throwbacks and references that they've done in this show, and it's just spot on hilarious. It's hilarious. Make fun of Alien and make fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger, which for those who haven't grew up in that area, there's been a lot of shows, cartoon shows that would just make fun of celebrities and just how they look. It's just what they do in their characteristic, which is just funny as hell. Like I'm just telling you. I think the best part about this show for me is just kind of how down to earth it feels. It doesn't feel very chaotic, but it feels very mature in satire, but they don't over satire uh, the comedy. It's kind of similar to like Family Guy in a little bit, where I think tonally it feels a little bit laid back and they don't have these weird, somewhat reference jump cuts, but not as heavily as Family Guy, but they do have them every now and then. But they still stick to telling a core story um of a guy trying to make sense of his living being a dad, trying to understand what it means to be a father while trying to find love while also dealing with his employees and employer reviewing movies he just distastes. And in the second season, I think the show lasted for maybe 2 or 3 seasons. It didn't last too long. The second season, he is introduced to a new character, or his love interest. She's also single parent, and the two do try to formulate a connection, and they do have, uh, a relationship and trying to build upon what they have together. Now they do go ups and downs, but I do personally think the comedy here is just hilarious. I even think personally, even though the show's like what 1993 or four, I'm trying to count over 30 years. I still think the show does hold up on its humor. I mean, yeah, it's dated, but I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's dated because the show. But I still do think that the humor does land in 2024. I do recommend checking this show out, and especially if you are looking for a good comedy, and if you are looking for something that doesn't have, I guess, a term. I'm trying to be careful with wokeness or just comedy that's more about the message than a story and just ideas, then I would recommend watching The Critic. I do believe you'll have a good time with this show, and yeah, at this time there's not a lot of diversity, so just going with it with open arms, and I can tell you, at least for me, I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I'm still currently rewatching some of the episodes, and it's a good time. The Critic, have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated TV show. And let me know what is your favorite um adult animated series like Family Guy, Futurama. Actually, there are some pretty unique ones that I've discovered and have watched, and I actually would like to go back and check some of those out because I feel like there were some, feel like there were just certain ones that kind of just went under the radar, and if they weren't too popular, it's kind of hard to seek them out. There's this one particular show. If I could rewatch some of the episodes, I might talk about it on here, but I do highly encourage you guys to watch The Critic. Till next time.